Hey guys, so I want to talk briefly about the influence of music, how it impacts us, and also I have a couple of announcements that I want to make. So I'm going to talk really briefly here because it's really late into the night and I've already had a previous night of only 2 hours of sleep and I really don't want to do that again for a consecutive night. So anyways, the influence of music. Now, most of you guys who have discovered this channel probably are here because of the concentration programming music videos I've done. Now, of course, that title seems a little bit odd or lengthy, but I know many people have expressed that they use those videos to actually write, read, work on their jobs or whatever. So, music has an impact on us. We sort of use it for certain reasons. We use it for certain moments. If you're going to the gym, you're using it to sort of boost your energy, to get you hyped up. If you're about to start a football game, you usually listen to music to hype up before then. If you're writing, you want to listen to something calm or whatever. So we always there tends to be a use for music, and we usually navigate to it in the way that syncs with us. Now, of course, the influence of music can sometimes be bad. I've spoken about this in a past video that was actually a couple years ago. But when you're in these situations in which you're like perhaps in a bad mood or you're angry, and if you go and listen to something that sort of has lyrics that sort of boost that anger, that's not necessarily a good thing. And also, it can kind of work on the opposite end of that spectrum. If you're sad, you're listening to something that's kind of melancholy, you're listening to something that's a little, saddening in itself, it will continue to push you down. And a lot of times that can be a negative thing. I've told people before that, sometimes if you're mad, like for example, I've had times at work where I've had long extreme days and I was really frustrated when I got off. And the first thing that, we would normally do is go and sit in our car, start some loud music and drive on back home. And I did this for quite a while, but then I started questioning myself: is this negatively impacting me? Is it further just stressing me out? Is it really relieving stress, or just making me more stressed and making me think about things in a bad way? So then I started to shift it, and I said, what, if I'm mad or if I'm pissed off and leaving work or something, then I'm going to listen to something that's actually a little bit more calming, a little bit more soothing, and that does not go into the emotion of what I'm, the way I'm feeling. And a lot of times, for right now, I rarely listen to lyrical music. Just about everything that I listen to is either video game soundtracks, movie soundtracks, or just composition music that people make that's lyricless. So and the reason why I do this is because a lot of times I don't like the words of songs to sort of tell me how to feel or to influence how I feel. I sort of like to paint the picture myself, and that's one of the things that music does. It allows us to paint images in our heads. And as I said before, if you're pissed off at someone and you listen to music that talks about killing or murdering or and all that sort of stuff, chances are you're going to have thoughts of doing that in your mind. And of course, that is not a good thing to do. So a lot of times, or sometimes, when we have certain emotions, we're in certain positions, it's good to not listen to things that sort of talk about that emotion. If you've gone through a breakup, do not listen to music that talks about breakups. Now, it may feel good. It may feel like, hey, this song explains exactly how I feel, and it may very well do that. But here's the thing: you don't really want to feel that way. It's not a feeling. The feeling of heartbreak is not something that you want to sit in. That's not something that you want to continue to feel. A feeling that you want to continue to entertain. That's a feeling that you want to actually get out of, and it's rough to get out of that when you're continuing to listen to things that influence that emotion. When you're depressed, sad, or whatever, it's bad to continue to listen to things that sort of boost that emotion. And I've gone through this before, and many times during my past years, and especially when I went through depression, I listened to a lot of that. There's a certain word for it. I don't know if it's used nowadays. They call it emo music or whatever. But I used to listen to a lot of that. I used to listen to a lot of heavy metal, and it felt good in the moment to sort of distract myself, to sort of blast, and I was probably killing my ears. But looking back, it served no benefit for me, to be honest. It just further made me think negatively. It further made me get absorbed into those emotions rather than actually trying to escape them. So, sometimes music can have that effect on us. Sometimes we can listen to things that, like I said, talk exactly about how we feel. And at the same time, while we're doing that, it's just sort of draining us, and it's sort of keeping us in that emotion. So keep that in mind. That's like I said, that's one of the reasons why most of the music that I listen to now is lyricless. So yeah, music can definitely have an impact when you're when you're feeling loved or you're going on a date or something. You're probably going to listen to some sort of music that now you may not, but you're probably going to listen to something. You probably wouldn't be listening to metal at that point in time unless you're probably both metalheads or something like that. Music definitely, it's used for situational purposes for sure. And I think that that's one of the ways that it sort of influences us, subconsciously, that we're not even aware of. But we tend to pick certain music choices for certain things. So as I said before, many guys have came to this channel because of the programming music videos that I have made. Now, of course, those are compilations of art, of compositions that of course, I did not produce. I've never really considered myself as an artist or as a music producer. I dabbed a little bit with guitar years ago. That's something that my dad is really good at. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think my dad purchased me a guitar when I was about 5 years old, and or 5 or 6, 7, somewhere around that range. But I remember slamming it against a door. I don't know why. Maybe I was just some idiotic kid and I slammed the guitar against the door just for the heck of it. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure he was disappointed in that. But I look back and I think, you know what? Maybe if I hadn't have did that, and if I had have kept at it and started learning at such a young age, I would be really good right now. But I dabbed at it a little bit when I was my final years of high school, and early on in college, before kind of work started picking up a little bit and I wasn't able to do it. And I never really stayed consistent at it to get really great at it. But I've always loved music. I've always loved the sound of guitars in particular. I've always loved pianos, keyboards, and though I know nothing about playing those pianos and keyboards, I always enjoy it. I feel that I have a pretty good ear for music. I feel that I have a pretty good I guess, of course, we all have different music tastes, but I feel like I can sort of detect good music versus, I can also pick up on, errors or bad things in music. So perhaps that's one of the things that's kind of helped me out with these compilations for sort of the theme that I'm trying to, convey. And, like I said, you guys have been enjoying them. So, and continue to ask for them. So I've continued to do them. So yeah, that's how I feel. When it comes to music and when it comes to films and video games, that is one of the components that I put a lot of emphasis on, or I focus a lot on. And I've said this many times before, but a bad film can be made a great film by the music score. And I've seen this many times. Now, one of my favorite composers happens to be, I think I'm saying this right, Hans Zimmer, however you say it. For those of you guys who may not be familiar with him, he did soundtracks for films such as The Last Samurai, which actually happens to be one of my favorite films. He did Inception. I think he did a little bit of Interstellar, Gladiator. And he also did the soundtrack for, I think it was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Really, really great soundtrack. And one of the things that you'll notice when you listen to his music and some of the other great composers as well is that they know how to portray the feeling that, perhaps a particular scene is trying to portray. They know how to capture that. They know how to capture you through their music. And when you get connected to the music, when it hears and it flows and it goes exactly along with what you're seeing, then there's just really a special moment into that. It's kind of hard to explain, but perhaps you felt it. But that's one of the things. That's one of the reasons why I absolutely love his music. When I find out that a film has when he composes the soundtrack for a film, I'm like, I gotta see that. And from the majority of the times, I catch just about every film that I at least find out that he's composing for. But anyways, so lately I have decided that I would like to start composing myself. And it's for me a great way to sort of shape those videos that I do, to shape them in a way that I want to shape them, rather than having to be at the mercy of what's available out there. But I wanted to sort of do this so that way I can shape them the way that I want to, sort of express myself in the the composition of music. And as with many arts, of course, music is an art, and as with many arts, they are a way for you to express yourself. And I've never really thought about it much until, perhaps recently, that this could very well be an avenue for me to be able to express myself through music. I've done other things. I've drawn a lot. I started painting a little bit, but that's not something that I really ever had too much of an interest in. But I've been drawing since a young age, a very young age, and I don't do as much of it now. I started drawing portraits for a little bit, and that's something I don't really put much time into now. But as with all forms of art, I think that there's some special spot, or there's a sweet spot, that when you love what you're doing, when you love that art that you're doing, and you're just putting all your putting every part of yourself into that, into expressing yourself, then you create magic, then you create something very beautiful. And just thinking about it, I have become very excited about that thought, because this will be a chance for me to express myself, and to have that feeling, to truly be connected with what I'm producing, and to not only be the listener and the I guess at this point in time I'll be both the creator, and I'll be able to critique my own work. So I am very excited about that. I don't know when my first full list that I have composed will be available. Also, one of the other announcements is that I am currently working on the next list that I'm going to upload. I've basically gotten all the tracks that I want into it, and I just have to put everything together and probably make a video for it or something. But anyways, what the one that I produce actually is probably going to be the next one, or either the one after the next one. So that'll probably be what I think I have like 6 lists up now. I have 0 through 5, so I think this one will be part 6, and I'll possibly have a part 7, and then part 8 will be the one that I have composed. So, that will very well likely be out, hopefully by the end of this year. Of course, that seems like a long time, but of course, I have to get used to these sorts of things. I have to kind of get learned up, and I don't want to release anything. If it's bad for me, then if it sounds bad for me, then likely you guys are not gonna like it. So, I don't want to just throw things out there just for the sake of doing it. I actually want to feel it. I want it to flow, and it has to be good as well. So anyways, that's all I want to talk about, guys. I hope you've enjoyed. And until next time, I will talk to you later.